So, TaxScout, what is it? So, you may have heard about it. I'm pretty sure for those of you that follow my co-founder John on LinkedIn, you definitely would have heard about it. But TaxScout essentially, what it's doing is it's a new module for us, and the aim of it is that we actually want to essentially bring all of the data that we can get out of HMRC into one view around different taxes and balances and deadlines, and keep that all in one place so that you don't have to sort of drill into each client via your agent portal to go in and try and figure out who hasn't paid, what things have been missed. So that's what we're trying to do here, and example use cases are around kind of like catching sort of outstanding balances, upcoming deadlines. A big one that we've had in terms of hearing how people kind of sort of have their workflow around this. Essentially, it's about kind of reaching out to clients and giving them a heads up when payments are due. So TaxScout is available now for UK practices using Socket. And so if you head into Socket, you'll see that absolutely right now. And it's free for the next couple of weeks until the 29th of April. So feel free to jump in and give it a go. And what we're looking to do from a pricing perspective is keep it roughly the same as, or keep it the same as the Pro Features module. So we'll be publishing some proper pricing around that on our website, etc. But essentially, it will be the kind of the same as Pro Features. Basically, that's the aim. We've got quite an exciting roadmap, I think, around TaxScout as well. So I'll just mention this now. But the aim that we're trying to get to really is allowing you to spot gaps in terms of agent access. So looking across your client portfolio and seeing, which ones you've actually got agent access for and which ones you don't. And we can kind of compare that as well. I think the cool thing with having this inside your proposal system is that we can sort of compare that with the services that are that those clients are signed up for within Socket, and then be able to see that are actually, you're saying that you're doing their kind of year-end accounts for them, but it doesn't look like you've got access to their corporation tax. Just as an example. I think a natural follow-on from that really is being able to request to make those kind of 64-8 requests to gain access to those clients in your portal. And then I think the next kind of natural step as well is we've got all the information there, and really how do we kind of help you reduce the admin around reminding clients that they've got deadlines in terms of various payments to make, self-assessment being an obvious example of that. So that's kind of where we're going with it. To kind of give you a little sort of introduction in terms of what that looks like, let me jump across to the app again. And down in here, so just underneath Price Monitor, you should see this new thing called TaxScout. And so if I jump into this one, this, by the way, is just using automatically generated data. So if you see something that looks like a company that you might know, it's not. But basically, it's just using auto-generated data essentially across everything. So VAT numbers and CRNs, etc. But it's in terms of being able to see this, the way that we've kind of broken this out is you've got your different tax types across the top. So VAT, PAYE, corp tax, self-assessment. And then tax balances is a kind of like slightly different view I'll come back to. But the idea is you can see all of your kind of like VAT clients. And so when you first land in the TaxScout area, this will obviously be empty, and you'll be prompted to set up or provide your government gateway logins. And the reason for that, so essentially this kind of information you can't get via an HMRC API. So we have to go in through the front door, essentially. And so we spin up a little robot to go and sort of pull all this information. And it's fairly finicky and kind of difficult to sort of maintain. But we're committed to doing so. And so this is the kind of end result. And I think it's pretty cool. So essentially we'll go away and kind of bring all this data back. once you provided your government gateway logins. So in this kind of settings area, you can provide multiple logins. So you might have one for corporation tax, PAYE, self-assessment, for example, and a different one for VAT, just as an example. Or you might have multiple as well for the same kind of tax type. So essentially, for each of these, we will kind of use these to go in and grab the information. And so at the moment, it's a manual sync. So essentially, you click the sync button here, or you choose what kind of tax you want to go and bring in from HMRC. And it takes probably around kind of like 10 to 20 minutes, I would say, on average, depending on the number of clients that you've got, to go in and sort of yeah, bring back all the data. And then I think where we're heading with this, probably over the next kind of week or two, I think we'll look to do essentially like an automated sync that will go and just refresh that for you overnight. And that's kind of down to HMRC. I think they only really refresh this kind of data in their portal once a day anyway. So we'll look to kind of keep it in sync with that essentially. Um, but yeah, so there'll still be kind of like you can drill into these clients. I'll come into that in a second, but and you can also do individual syncs on a per client basis as well if you do need to. So
Just a couple of bits coming through on that, Rich.
yeah.
James asked about CIS data coming through from HMRC. Is that something that we've got on the roadmap?
It's on the roadmap, yes. Yep. And we're actually looking to on that front, CIS specifically. We're kind of keen to work with people who are kind of keen to work with us and happy to work with us in terms of building that out. And so I think it's just one of those areas where we almost need kind of more people to work with, really. So yeah, CIS definitely. And yeah, if you're keen to see that in here, then give us a shout. We'd love to work with you on that for sure.
And the other, which James asked as well, was HMRC seem to be threatening to add two-factor authentication to gateway logins. Is that going to be something that's going to cause a problem?
It'll definitely cause a challenge for sure. I think it's something that is solvable though. So yeah, we're aware that that's coming, and yeah, we will cross that bridge when we come to it. So yeah, it is another area that's going to add a bit of complication, but we'll kind of work our way through it for sure.
Yeah, cool, cool, cool.
All right. Cool. So just to talk you through a couple of extra bits in these views, if I jump into, I mean, it doesn't really matter which one I view on, but everything you'd expect here is kind of like sortable. But the other thing that we've got here is columns that we can look to bring in. So there's actually, quite often there's a lot more in here than we've kind of got on the default views. And so this columns button that you'll see on each of these, you can kind of choose to bring in other things as well from here. So, payment balance might be another one on that you're interested in here. So yeah, essentially, or yeah, I'm not sure which one I did, but yeah. So there's various kind of like extra columns you can bring in, or you might be kind of looking to kind of see what the UTR is for these companies as well. So you can kind of play around with these columns, and it will remember those settings that you've applied as well. Um, the last thing I wanted to kind of mention just in terms of that, so tax balances, that's kind of instead of like one row per client, you'll see it's kind of got like sort of lots of different kind of views in here. And you can kind of just kind of see it's kind of an interesting view. I think I'd be interested to get everyone's thoughts on it, but it's kind of like one row per tax balance of various different types. So you've got these different kind of things like outstanding debt, overdue payments, for example, and there's different ways of kind of like slicing and dicing this data as well. Um, and then lastly, from here, this is probably the most flexible part of it. So there's this thing called Report Builder. And, I think at this stage we're kind of keen to hear from people in terms of, the way they'd like to see the data presented. But this is a way that allows you to fully customize that. So under Report Builder, under here, when you come in, it'll be pretty much just have a list of clients. But then from here, you can go into columns, and there's a whole lot of columns that you can add in across literally everything. So if I go start from and then choose like corporation tax, then that's kind of like the corporation tax view as a starting point, where you can then add in, say, okay, I also want to say what my PAYE status is, for example. Or do we have, so one might be like, if I choose tax types, UTR, and then I'm kind of interested in who's got a payment plan for PAYE, direct debit, and under VAT, who's got direct debit sort of hooked up as well. And so all of a sudden you've kind of got this kind of view where you can say, okay, well, these are all my clients that have got sort of a direct debit sort of set up as well. And you can kind of spot where the gaps are. Um, I think the other interesting thing around this kind of like tax science view is you can start to sort of see at a glance what data you've got for different clients, and start to spot whether there's any kind of like differences there. Obviously, we've got plans to take that a lot further in terms of highlighting where we think there are kind of access issues or differences between, what's in the proposals in socket versus what's coming through from HMRC as well. Um, but yeah, so from there, we can kind of click through to one of these kind of clients, and you'll get this detail view, and it'll give you a little bit of an overview on each of these cards in terms of where this client is at. And then you can click on View More or click on one of these cards, and it will take you through to the kind of detailed view of that particular tax type for that particular client. So you can kind of drill right down into a fair amount of detail in this kind of space, and you can see, various things like overpayments and when things, whether things have been filed, etc. PAYE is kind of interesting. Like, it sort of goes back. It brings in all that kind of PAYE history as well. So yeah, tons of data in there. I think we'll probably look to refine the way that this kind of looks over the next little while as well. But certainly there's a lot to explore, I think, in here too. Lastly, I guess I mentioned that you can kind of sync individual clients. So this is where you can do that. And you can go down to like, I just want to sync corporation tax just for this particular client at this point. So yeah, there's a little intro to TaxScout. Super keen to, get your feedback, jump in, have a play. And yeah, we're very keen to try and make this as valuable as possible. So yeah, we'd love to hear what you think. And hopefully you can kind of see the value in this quite quickly, and will hopefully sort of save you quite a bit of time and give you more visibility, really. So that's the aim.
Couple of bits come through on TaxScout rather than just the general Q&A that we've got at the end. Is would it be possible to monitor what ID verification dates we have for directors and PSCs at Companies House?
That's a good question. And the answer is I'm not actually sure on that one. So I think things like that, I'd love to. I mean, we will make a note of that, and we'll dig into it for sure. But yeah, I mean, feel free to reach out to us with those kind of questions. I think 'cause we're keen to essentially build this out and collect more information and surface that for you. So
And
yeah,
then the other one was just around the pricing for TaxScout. I know we've got um, a trial period at the moment, and I think you did mention it a bit earlier on, did you, Rich?
yeah. So if I just head across to the pricing page, so we don't have it published just yet, but essentially the pricing for TaxScout is going to match Pro features. So it kind of, if you come onto the pricing page and then you sort of go along to what your plan is. So if you're on the standard plan, and then if you're paying annually, then it will be essentially £15 a month on the annual plan. And then if you're paying monthly, obviously it'll be like £30 a month. So that's the kind of way to work it out. And then the pricing specifically for TaxScale will appear on here over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that's the plan. And 29th of April is our kind of like target date for that. Um, don't ask me why. It's just a number a date that we plucked out of the year. But yeah, that's the aim. So yeah, keen to hear any feedback on that as well. But I think it's in terms of the kind of like time we're saving across lots of different client portals, then hopefully that's going to be quite obvious on that
Yeah,
one.
some positive comments in the chat there, just saying it looks great so far. So Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, nice to hear. All right. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and thanks for your help, Si, and we'll catch you all next time.
Catch you later, everyone.